You still have time to get today's Delmarva Life Daily Deal. Today's deal, 50% off men's haircuts from the barbershop in Millsboro. To get the deal, go to delmarvalife.com. You'll find that daily deal on the right side of our homepage.
Well, for more than a decade, Delmarva has been home to one of the most unique companies in the country. Dogfish Head Brewery makes off-centered beer for off-centered people. In fact, last summer, Dogfish Head was the subject of a Discovery Channel series called Brewmasters. I recently took a tour of the Milton facility to see what it takes to make the popular microbrew. The Dogfish Head Brewery occupies 100,000 square feet of the old Draper King Coal Cannery in Milton. Event guru Mark Carter guided our tour, which for us begins in the front lobby, where the first thing you see is a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson.
It translates, though, to off-center beer for off-center people. And that's what our mission statement is here.
From there, we made our way into the tasting and merchandise room.
This is usually the first spot you're going to see, right here.
From books to dog treats, you can find just about anything Dogfish Head here. Next, it was time to put on the safety glasses and make our way into where all the action is, the brewery. Dogfish Head is what's called a craft brewery. To be a craft brewery, you have to make under 6 million barrels of beer a year. Dogfish produces about 150,000 barrels a year.
We're going to be a craft brewer for a long time, and that's what we want to be.
And what goes into those barrels starts here.
Beer is basically made up of 4 things: water, hops, barley, and yeast.
Barley is brought into the brew house and put into a grist mill that crushes it into a coarse grain.
It will get that barley wet as it crunches it up a bit.
From there, the barley or malt is sent to the mash tun, which mixes the ground barley with hot water, making a kind of oatmeal-like substance. This process also changes the substance from very starchy to very sweet as the enzymes in the barley are broken down. Then it's off to the lauter tun. Here, the mixture is made into what's called wort. Wort is created when the fermentable sugars have been extracted from the grain and make a kind of tea or fermentable liquid. It's kind of like percolating coffee.
And that's essentially the liquid base for beer, in a sense. That wort is what we're going to start to play with to make, to make this alcoholic beverage that tastes delicious.
The wort gets transferred to the next vessel called the brew kettle, where the wort is boiled and the hops are added. Depending on what kind of beer is being made, other ingredients are added by hand. Today, it's honey. Other days, it could be saffron or maple syrup.
Beer it can get kind of complex. It's not 4 ingredients and that's it.
Then it's time for a whirlpool.
The whirlpool, what it's going to do is spin it around. That's the first stage of getting any solids out of the beer.
The clean hot wort is drawn off and sent through a heat exchanger where the temp drops from near boiling to a fermenting temp of 67 degrees. From there, the liquid goes into the fermenters. If beer starts as a boy, this is where it becomes a man.
What will happen here, this is when we get to the yeast. And every beer is different. What type of yeast goes in there? And then that beer is going to hang out in one of these tanks. And what it's going to do is yeast gets together with the sweetness in the liquid, chomps away at it, does its thing, creates alcohol, and it also creates carbonation.
The beer is left in the tanks anywhere from 20 days to a month and a half. From there, it'll either go to a holding tank or the bottles. Bottles are filled, capped, labeled, and boxed for shipment. Other stops in the tour featured wood storage tanks, the beer lab, and the beer testing booths. But my favorite part of the tour has to be the end, because that's where we get to taste.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, that's good. And with a toast and a sip, our tour was completed. But wait, Mark had one more stop that isn't offered to everyone who tours Dogfish Head.
This is basically kind of a structural art in many ways.
The treehouse. And I can't think of any better place to end the tour than up in the treehouse. Mark, thank you so much. Had
You're
a great
welcome.
time.
Thank you for coming out to the brewery, and you know, we're excited you got out here to see it.
Thanks. The coolest treehouse I've ever seen. If you've ever been up to Milton, you've seen that in front of Dogfish Head. Now, the latest brew to hit store shelves from Dogfish Head is gluten-free beer. It's called Tweezanelle, and according to Dogfish owner Sam Calagione, it's not just gluten-free beer, it's gluten-free beer with gusto. And if you would like to learn more about Dogfish Head beer and find out how you can take a tour of the brewery, you'll find that information on our website, delmarvalife.com. Click on the show tab. Up next, I'm putting on my apron because we're staying right here in the kitchen. It's time for another recipe challenge, Super Bowl style, ahead of the big game this weekend. Delmarva Life, life at its best. Don't touch, here on Delmarva.